Have you ever noticed how hard it's becoming to just stay with something? Even something you choose to do? You sit down to work or to watch something or even to have a conversation, and within minutes, there's this pull. Not loud, not dramatic, but persistent. Like something in you is already reaching for what's next. And if you slow down just enough to catch it, you can actually feel it in your body. That subtle restlessness, that quiet sense that this moment isn't quite enough. And here's what I want you to start wondering as you notice that. What if that feeling is not about distraction at all, but about what your brain has been trained to expect? Because if that's true, then this isn't just about your attention. This is about something much bigger that is quietly shaping your energy, your motivation, and even your performance in the areas that matter most. This episode is brought to you by my HarperCollins published book, Mind Over Explicit Matter. Learn how artificial stimulation miswires your brain and what you can do to rewire it back to purpose, intimacy, and connection. Go to drtrishleigh.com/book. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, cognitive neuroscientist, and welcome back to the podcast. I think this is one of those conversations that once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it, my friend, because we are not just talking about behavior today. Instead, we're talking about what is shaping your brain, your drive, and your ability to show up powerfully in your own life. And as we go through this, I want you to keep one question in the back of your mind. Are you ready for it? If your brain is being trained every single day, what exactly is it being trained for? Because if you're honest with yourself, you've probably noticed this showing up in ways that are easy to dismiss. Your attention drifts faster than it used to. You feel that urge to check something, scroll something, switch something, even when there's no real reason to. I feel it sometimes. And if you really look at it, it's happening across your entire day, not just in one moment. And that is not random. And it's not a discipline issue. This is your brain being trained. And here's the part most people don't pause long enough to even ask. If this is training, what is it training you to become? What version of you? For the first time in history, we are living in an environment that no human brain was designed for. Constant stimulation, endless novelty, immediate access. There's no edge to it anymore. No natural stopping point, no gap, no space for your brain to settle. And that space is everything, because your brain is not just reacting to your environment, it is learning from it constantly. Every moment your brain is asking, what should I pay attention to? What matters? What should I come back to? And that answer, my friend, is based on what is repeated, what is intense, and what changes how you feel quickly, not what actually builds a meaningful life. And if that's the case, then it makes sense that your brain would start prioritizing intensity over meaning. But what does that do to your ability to feel satisfied in real life? Okay, so this is where dopamine comes in, because dopamine is not about pleasure. It is actually about learning. It is your brain's way of saying, that mattered, do it again, do that thing again. So every time something shifts in your internal state, or it makes you feel more stimulated or more engaged or even just more relieved, your brain marks it and starts building a pathway back to it automatically. And the more intense the input, the faster that learning happens, which means your brain is not just reacting to what you consume, it is being shaped by it. So the real question becomes, what are you teaching your brain to need in order to feel okay? So where does porn fit into this equation? This is where explicit content fits in and why isolating it misses the point completely. It is not separate from the system. It is the most amplified version of it because it delivers novelty, unpredictability, and high stimulation all at once, at a level real life could never consistently match. So your brain learns quickly that this matters, this is important, this is worth repeating, and over time that becomes the reference point your brain compares everything else to. And if that becomes the reference point, what happens to everything else in your life that doesn't hit that level? Once that reference point shifts, something predictable happens. Real life starts to feel flat. Work doesn't hit the same. Conversations don't feel as engaging. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. And most people think something is wrong with them in that moment. But nothing is wrong with you. Your brain has adapted, maladapted really, to a higher level of stimulation. But here's the part that almost nobody is saying out loud. That maladaptation doesn't just affect your attention. It actually affects your power. Because when your brain is constantly spiking high, fast dopamine and then crashing over and over again, you don't build stable energy. You drain it. You create a pendulum in the brain between overstimulation and depletion. I wrote about it in Mind Over Explicit Matter. And over time, that shows up as low drive, low motivation, and for a lot of men these days, erectile dysfunction. And this is where we have to get honest. ED is not a sexual problem. It is a power problem. Power in the brain. And if your brain is stuck in a cycle of stress, overstimulation, and fast dopamine for relief, then of course your power is going to be inconsistent because it's being drained at the source. And once you see that, you start to realize this was never about performance in the moment. It's about what your brain has been conditioned to run on all day long. And then it deepens because now it's not just about your behavior, it's your feed. Your feed is not neutral. It is a system that studies what you engage with and gives you more of that, reinforcing the exact patterns your brain is already building. And then meaning gets layered on top of that. This is where manosphere content comes in because it doesn't just show behavior. It tells you what it means. It tells you this is power, this is control, this is what it means to be a man. And something subtle happens. Behavior becomes belief. And once it becomes belief, your brain starts defending it instead of questioning it. But I would love for you to pause here for a second and really ask yourself something. What do you actually want? Not that quick hit, not the temporary relief. What do you want your life to look like? What kind of impact do you want to have in your work? What kind of man do you want to be in your relationship? What kind of relationship do you want to have? What kind of presence do you want to be for your children or your future children? What do you want your legacy to feel like when people experience you? Because what's being sold right now as power is not power. It is stimulation. It is ego-driven pleasure loops that keep you cycling but never actually satisfy you. And if you're honest, you can feel that. It gives you something for a beat, for a moment, but it doesn't build anything that lasts. It doesn't give you that grounded sense of certainty or of strength, true strength, or of direction. It keeps you chasing. That's the trap, my friend. Because if your strategy is stimulation, satisfaction will always stay just out of reach. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because the system is designed exactly that way. And these patterns don't stay contained. They move into your relationships, into your family, into the emotional tone of your home. Because when one nervous system becomes dysregulated from overstimulation, another becomes dysregulated trying to stabilize it. And children don't learn from what you say. They learn from the state that you live in. They absorb it, which means this is not just personal. This is generational. So where do you start? Not with forcing behavior, but instead with changing what is training your brain, because your brain is being shaped whether you realize it or not. Every scroll, Every video, every exposure is teaching it what to seek. So the shift is taking control of your inputs. Curate your feed. Reduce intensity. Create space again. Interrupt the loop where it actually begins. Because this is happening whether you're paying attention to it or not. Your brain is adapting right now, quietly and consistently, based on what it's exposed to. So the real question is not, is this affecting me? The real question is, what is it training me to become? And if something in you recognizes this and you can feel that pull, that restlessness, that shift in your ability to stay present, that's awareness, my friend. And awareness is where change starts. Because once you can see the pattern, you can change it. And you don't have to do that alone. This is exactly the work that I do all day, every day. So if this hit home for you, please go to drtrishleigh.com, schedule a private meeting with me. I can help you. All right, until next time, control your brain or it'll control you. I'll see you then.